Hello and welcome. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. This is Vision Sports 360 on WTV. I'm going to take you through the ever exciting world of sports. My name is Austin Arome. We have quite a lot outlined for you on the show today from the ongoing African Cup of Nations. We have the NBA. We also have the anticipated bout between Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, which is going to take place in March. Both fighters are talking tough. And let's give you highlights of top stories that we have for you today, starting from the African Cup of Nations. It's just day one, or should I say match day one of African Cup of Nations. Already we have quite a lot of surprise, so to say. The ongoing African Nations Cup, Namibia beating perennial campaigners Tunisia. A surprise result yesterday, 1-0. It ended in favor of Namibia in that African Cup of Nations game. We also have South Africa losing to another seasoned campaigner in Mali. Many people are not looking at Mali as one of the teams to win this tournament, but then I believe that they fancy their team winning this particular one. And they also have Mali, Burkina Faso rather, playing against Mauritania yesterday. 3 games that went down yesterday. We also tried to give you some of the games that will be played today. Morocco will be in action. Already they are in action. They are playing against Tanzania. We also take a look at the build-up to the match between the Ivorian national team and the Super Eagles of Nigeria. This is going to be one of the match of the tournament. You know, Super Eagles as one of the favorites going into this tournament, Ivory Coast being the host, and you know, with the caliber of players that they have, you also see them as a favorite going into the games. Both teams are talking tough. The captain of the Ivorian national side is saying that, you know, they are not under pressure, but you know, they feel that they have all it takes to beat the Super Eagles. Meanwhile, we also have you know, a counter response to that from the assistant captain of the Super Eagles in, you know, Truth Ekong. You know, quite a lot to talk about as far as that game is concerned. We also have you know, to take a look at tennis, ongoing Australian Open, where we have a defending champion Novak Djokovic. You know, almost got knocked out of the second round of the competition. It took him 3 hours, about over 3 hours, to beat Alexander Popyrin in that game, which took place you know, the early hours of today. And we also try to look at the transfer window, as you know, the transfer window is ongoing, and the return of Ivan Toney after 8 months suspension from footballing activities. He was suspended for bet-related activities. You know, he breached the EPL rule on betting. So much more to talk about. All this and more we have for you right here on the show, Sports Vision 360 on the WTV. But before we do that, we'd like to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll throw open what we have for you right here on the show. All right, welcome back to the show. Still Vision Sports 360 on WTV. Now we're starting from the African Cup of Nations. This is our own pride. No other competition, no other tournament is as big as the African Cup of Nations as far as we are concerned right here in Africa. And what a way to start. You know, let's start with Namibia, who actually were able to secure a fantastic result yesterday against the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia. The Brave Warriors beating the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia by a lone goal, courtesy of a goal from Dion Hoto in the 88th minute, header which secured previous winners. Tunisia actually lost that game courtesy of that header. And if you look at both teams going into this game, Namibia ranked 115th in the world, while Tunisia, one of those top 5 teams. As a matter of fact, in terms of ranking, Tunisia are in the top 5 ranked team as far as Africa is concerned. So this is actually a surprise result. And as a matter of fact, this is Namibia's first win in 9 appearances. They played 9 games at the African Cup of Nations. They've not been able to win any game. And in their first attempt against Tunisia, one of the favorites to win this tournament, they were able to get results. 3 points they managed to secure, which adds to the number of upsets that we've been able to see at this ongoing African Cup of Nations. We saw what happened between Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea. We also saw, Mozambique and Egypt. That game, Egypt narrowly was able to secure a draw. And we saw what happened between Ghana and Cape Verde as well. Ghana lost to Cape Verde. These teams coming into this tournament were billed as one of the favorites to win this tournament, but that is not to be. What is happening, actually is showing us that right now, as far as African football is concerned, we no longer have minnows, because with the result we're having, you're sure to actually, get entertained. As far as African Nations Cup is concerned, it's no longer, business as usual for the top teams like Nigeria, top teams like even the host nation Ivory Coast, like the likes of Egypt. So it's actually getting interesting, and things are hotting up at the moment as far as the African Cup of Nations is concerned. Now, moving on, let's switch gears. Let's talk about another match, that took place yesterday between South Africa and Mali. Mali, for me, going into this tournament, not a lot of people, a lot of people are not seeing them as one of those teams that could actually win the tournament. But for me, in my own personal opinion, I believe that they have what it takes to win that particular tournament, so to say. And they started yesterday on a bright note, beating a South African side, a good South African side, if I must say, by 2-0. It was actually a total domination, dominating South Africa from the beginning of the game. It's just that at one point in time, it looks like all their effort, prove abortive. But then at the end of the day, they're able to get those 2 goals, and 2-0. It ended between South Africa and Mali. Mali, for me, with the crop of players they have, Bissouma, the captain of the side, what they have going into this tournament, quite a young side, and they're also experienced when it comes to the African Cup of Nations as well. They've not really shown that they can win it in previous competition, but with what I've seen, with the way they played their first game, they played like a team that came in prepared to win the African Cup of Nations. So far, so good. One of the most convincing team as far as this tournament is concerned. There was also that game between Burkina Faso and Mauritania. Burkina Faso beating Mauritania by a lone goal. That, for me, is not a surprise. If you remember, Burkina Faso played in the final of the 2013 African Cup of Nations against Nigeria, which they lost to Nigeria, courtesy of that goal from Sunday Oba. So beating Mauritania for Burkina Faso, I don't think is actually a surprising result. So as far as the African Cup of Nations is concerned, a lot of results, that I've seen so far, has shown that we have quite a tournament on our hands, and we're looking forward to some of the games that will be played. And talking about some of the games that will be going down today already, we have Morocco taking on Tanzania. So the last time I checked, it was goalless. No goal yet in that game. And Morocco, for me, is one of those teams where you say they are one of the favorites to win this particular tournament. And they will have a Democratic Republic of Congo against Zambia. Democratic Republic of Congo playing against Zambia is another game to look out for as far as the African Cup of Nations is concerned. And now, talking about African Nations Cup, we have also Nigeria's game tomorrow against Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, the host of the tournament, will play against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So we'll take a short break now. When we come back, we're going to be talking about that game between Ivory Coast and the Super Eagles of Nigeria. What are we looking out for? You'll get to know when we come back from the short break. Welcome back to the show. It's still Sports Vision 360 on WTV. Now let's talk about Cote d'Ivoire versus Nigeria, which is where our interest lies at the moment. Cote d'Ivoire will be playing against Nigeria tomorrow. Ordinarily, we're not supposed to talk about it now. Probably we should be talking about it tomorrow, but because we're not going to be here tomorrow, so we have to talk about it now. And talking about it, the captain of the Ivorian national team, talk about Max Gradel, has said that his Elephant side are not under pressure to do well at the African Cup of Nations 2024. And he expressed confidence in his team's ability to beat the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Meanwhile, the assistant captain of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Trust Ekong, he's saying that Nigeria will give all their best to beat Ivory Coast in the next game of the 2023 African Cup of Nations. This encounter is built to be played tomorrow, just like we said earlier. Super Eagles will be needing to win this game because of the fact that they dropped 2 points in that game against Equatorial Guinea. So they have an uphill task playing against the host nation, who are motivated, with all the support behind them, the supporters, because they are playing at home. And it's going to be a difficult task. But then all the Super Eagles need to do is to make sure that they avoid defeat if necessary. But if they can win the game, I think it will do them more good than harm at the ongoing African Cup of Nations, because a loss for them in this particular game will put their qualification to the next round in jeopardy. Not that if they lose this game, they are not going to qualify eventually, but then their chances of qualifying to the next round will be slim. You can also say the same of Ivory Coast, but then Ivory Coast already securing that 3 points in that first game. They have good standing. They can actually go into this game, trying to play for a draw. But then I know that eventually they are coming for the Super Eagles. They are coming to get the win because they are playing at home. So it's going to be a difficult one for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And I don't know how it's going to play out tomorrow. But then I know the Super Eagles, they have what it takes to win that game if they can actually bury the chances that come their way. In their first game against Equatorial Guinea, the Super Eagles were guilty of missing chances. The likes of Zaidu Sanusi and Victor Osimhen missing chances that ordinarily they should actually put behind the net. So it's unlike Victor Osimhen. You can for over 2 seasons or so that we've seen the best of Victor Osimhen. There's never been a time where you see him missing those kind of chances. But let's hope that against Ivory Coast, he's going to be clinical. So as I said earlier, this is a big game considering the quality of the opposition that are playing. In Ivory Coast, you have the likes of the Sangare, the likes of Gradel, quite a lot of them. We have the likes of, even the Borussia Dortmund former striker. I'm trying to remember his name. So it's actually a game of quality right there between Nigeria and Ivory Coast. Let's hope that that game is going to go our way. Talk about the Super Eagles to actually improve our chances of qualifying to the next round of the African Nations Cup. Now we'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll look at other sports, what's happening in the world of tennis. We have the ongoing Australian Open, Novak Djokovic needing over 3 hours to beat his opponent, Alexandra Popyrin, to move on to the next round of the competition. We'll talk about that after the short break. All right, welcome back to Vision Sports 360. Let's talk tennis. And talking tennis, there's the ongoing Australian Open, the match between Novak Djokovic and Alexei Popyrin, which actually lasted about 3 hours, 11 minutes before the world number one was able to secure that win, that all-important win, that actually moving to the next round of the competition. For Novak Djokovic, it's all about chasing his 11th Australian Open title, and it's actually took a lot of time before he was able to beat Alexei Popyrin, and it was actually a game. The score, I think the score is 6-4, 4-6, 7-6, 3-6 on Rod Laver Arena. And talking about other games that went down at the Australian Open, we have Stefanos Tsitsipas, another big name in this tournament, who had to battle past Jordan Thompson earlier today at the Margaret Court Arena. We also have a fifth seed, Andy Rublev, who also beat American Chris Eubank with a 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 win against Chris Eubank, rather. We also have Australia Alex Munoz, who swept aside Italy Matteo Arnold, 6-3, 6-love, 6-3. That's as far as the Australian Open is concerned. And one interesting thing about the Australian Open that you can see so far is that the top seeded players keep winning. And what that means is that we're going to have a very tough tournament this season, unlike the previous ones where you see surprises here and there. You see debutant beating the top seed. You see a player that you not expect ordinarily to beat the top player, beating them. You see players who is playing the tournament for the first time, moving as far as the quarterfinal. But this time around, it seems like the big players, the top players, are on top of their games, and we're going to see what happens next. Is it that year where Novak Djokovic will go clear of everybody? Because when we talk about men's tennis, we have Rafael Nadal, who is on 22 Grand Slam, and Novak Djokovic already on 23, looking at making his 24 Grand Slam title, which will eventually make him the best tennis player as far as men's tennis is concerned. Now, moving on, let's talk football, and this time around we're looking at the transfer window, where Nigerian Gift Orban is already in France, preparing for his transfer to Olympique Lyonnais. Gift Orban actually is playing with Genk in Belgium, and right now he's moving to Olympique Lyonnais. What are we going to expect from him? Last season he scored 16 goals in 30 appearances for his club, and he's going to join a club that is in need of goals right now. Olympique Lyonnais, for me, it's not just for me because of the record that they have, winning the French league. I think there was a time they dominated the French league for 7 years, but right now they are in danger of going down to the second division. They are number 16th in a league that is that have 18 teams. So they are staring relegation in the face, and they are bringing in Gift Orban to actually see if he can help help them stay up in the league. And the fee that is going to be signed for is 13 million euros, wish Gift Urban the best of luck because we need all our players to be, playing well and playing at the top clubs. Lyon for me is the top clubs, but the position that they found themselves at this point in time is not where they should be. It's not where they want to be. But I know that Gift Urban is going to bring in goals, and probably that will actually salvage the season of Olympic Lyon. Let's also talk about Jordan Henderson as well, who is preparing to move to Ajax Amsterdam after just 6 months in Saudi Arabia. And according to reports, the reason is that he's already not happy in Saudi Arabia, because of the change in environments, playing in England and playing in Saudi Arabia, two different things entirely. It's not about footballing reasons. It's not because of the fact that he's not winning. He earns I think about $700,000 dollars every week. It's not just about the money, but then he's not just happy at the moment playing at Al Ettifaq, and he wants to move back to Europe. And already there are his agents and the representative from Ajax, they're already in talks, and he'll be moving back if everything goes well back to Europe, and it's going to be at Ajax Amsterdam. Still talking football, and this time in a controversial manner. Referees chief Howard Webb has admitted that a penalty should have been awarded in a 1-1 draw between Arsenal and Liverpool. That was on the 23rd of December. Martin Odegaard handball, according to him, should have been given, and that would have given Liverpool that win, and probably would have a different different proposition or different league standing as it stands now. And because of Howard Webb coming out to say this, a lot has been said since yesterday, and we'll take a short break, and we'll talk about this more when we come back from the short break. All right, welcome back. And now let's continue with our stories. The Howard Webb story, because this has really happened a lot this season. The Premier League referees, the VAR, everybody involved, after every game, we'll see controversial decisions. And at the end of the day, they go in and come out, and then they apologize. And a lot of people are saying this cannot continue. This cannot actually continue, because it's going to dent the image of the league. It's going to dent the image of the referee. It's going to dent even the image of some clubs. It's going to put a dent on even the reputation of Manchester City, as some have said, because some people are saying that the league has been skewed in a way to favor Manchester City, after Howard Webb came out to say that the penalty that was not given against Arsenal, that was the match that was played on December 23rd, should have been given. And you know what that means? It means that Liverpool would have won that game, and by now probably would have seen maybe 4 points or even more than that, because when you had to go back to that game between Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur, where a goal was disallowed wrongly, they also came out to apologize again to the same thing. So there's a narrative actually playing out there that there's a kind of, how do I put it, a personal vendetta from the Premier League against the team Liverpool. And, we don't know what to say. And with Howard Webb coming out to say this, we hope that them coming out to talk about it will actually improve things. It will actually change things, and we don't get to hear stuffs about VAR making a mistake or referee making a mistake. We'll see how that actually pans out for the English Premier League, for Liverpool, and even Award Webber as well, who is actually the referee chief. Moving on, we're still talking football. Ivan Toney of Brentford FC is back after 8 months FA ban expired. If you remember, on July 2024, I think the FA actually placed a ban on Ivan Toney for breaching the FA rules of betting rules, so to say. He was involved in 262 breaches of the FA betting laws and was handed 8-month ban from all football related activities. He's back now and is available to play for his team. And rounding up, let's talk basketball, as Joel Embiid had 10 points, 41 points rather, and 10 assists against NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets. Looking at this game, the Denver Nuggets lost to Philadelphia 76ers 126 to 121 points. It was a close one, and Joel Embiid, for me, is the man of the moment. Every year, season in, season out, is carrying the team on his shoulder. Last season, they brought in James Harden to actually, play that support role to Joel Embiid, but that didn't happen. He didn't play that support role, and it was like, a disaster for them. But this season, they are number 3 as far as the Western Conference is concerned, and Joel Embiid is still on top of his game. He was nominated for the NBA player for last season, and the way he's going this season, it seems pretty much the same. We'll see that he's going to be nominated if he continues like this. Number 3 on the Eastern Conference, while Nikola Jokic, Denver Nuggets are also number 3 as far as the Western Conference is concerned. Would have served you other results from the NBA, but we don't have time to do that, as my producer is already telling me that my time is up. It is on this note that we wrap it up on today's edition of Sports Vision 360. I remain Austin Arome. I want to thank the production crew for doing a good job behind the scene, and to you, our viewers, I say thank you for watching and bye for now.